You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
And BART is recovering from major delays at this hour. We are following the latest and what you need to know if you are heading out the door. It has been another messy morning for the commute. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ann Makovic. Those BART delays were major all morning long. They impacted all of the lines running through the entire system. The San Francisco line in all directions. Officials have been working to restore red and green line service, and there's still limited blue and yellow line service. The agency says this was all because of a power issue. So let's get straight over to Veronica Macias. She is at the MacArthur station in Oakland. What's going on there at this hour?
And good morning. Well, this platform right now, a little quiet, not so crowded. That's because a train just left. So smiles on people's faces. You know, it seems like people are not fazed by the news of a major disruption when it comes to the BART transit system here in the Bay Area. I was just talking to a gentleman who has his book open. He says, yes, we get these notifications about delays, but for someone who uses BART on a daily basis, not throwing off his morning too much. But, this morning, again, the news is hearing of a delay, major delays at this point, system-wide, because of a power issue in downtown San Francisco. This is between Embarcadero and Powell Street. We know that the red and the green line wasn't running earlier today. Thankfully, service has been restored. The blue line was limited, and of course, people here are saying, we've been here before. They, like to get those notifications early so they can make arrangements, maybe hopping on the highway instead of relying on BART. We know that in the past, people have been very startled when those notifications don't go out immediately. There has been that time in the previous, months where people saw smoke filling the tube and smoke filling the train. And that caused, some alarm for people. But this morning, it seems like this disruption taken care of quickly. BART saying that electricians were out taking care of that issue. And it seems like right now service has been restored. So we're not seeing a large crowd, but we're still hearing over the speaker that there are major delays. So if you're anticipating taking BART here, just pack your patience this morning when you decide to go to your station, and ask, of course, the attendant at the gate to help you out to see where you need to take that transfer, Ann.
They're able to get this all back up and running very quickly. Another frustrating morning there. Thanks, Veronica, for that live report. And in the meantime, we are following some other developing news right now. This is in the West Contra Costa School District. We're watching for new developments right now in that teachers' strike. It's in its 5th day. Talks have stalled, and teachers say that the district will not be able to return to the table until tomorrow. 1,500 teachers on the picket lines demanding better wages, health care, and more classroom aids. The district says it is reviewing the union's latest proposal with state fiscal experts and plan to resume talks tomorrow. The union is going to hold a rally at 11 a.m. One teacher says this is all for the students.
We're asking for better learning conditions for students. At the end of the day, we're a school and we provide education for our students, and all of our students, no matter where they are, deserve a high-quality education. And high-quality education does not look like 70 vacancies.
The state superintendent is closely monitoring the situation and is urging both sides to reach a resolution. And in Oakland, the school district has to make some tough decisions as they face another massive budget shortfall. They need to cut $100 million from the budget in the upcoming school year, or the state and county could take over the district again. OUSD only just emerged from state receivership in July. So everything is on the table, from cutting school programs to laying off educators. The school board is expected to make its decision at Wednesday's budget meeting. A string of earthquakes felt in the East Bay this morning. The USGS reported 4 quakes along the Calaveras Fault, centered near San Ramon, the highest with a magnitude 3.0. That first one was reported at about 2:30 this morning, with 3 quakes hitting around the same area nearly 3 hours later. No word yet on any damage or injuries. And overseas, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake has hit off the coast of northern Japan. That triggered a tsunami alert, the epicenter of the coast off Hokkaido, about 30 miles below the sea surface. So the USGS says that earthquake hit at around 11:15 p.m. local time, which is 6:15 our time. The agency says a tsunami could reach up to 10 feet high in some areas now. There are reports of the shaking injuring several people in a hotel. A government task force has been set up to assess the extent of the damage. We're going to continue to follow that for you. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast. Some lingering fog clearing up this morning, but it is another chilly one. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, it's a cool way to kick off this week's forecast. We're holding on tight to 40s and 50s today off into the East Bay, where that Tule fog pulling in from the Sacramento Valley made its way into the Delta this morning, pulling back into the afternoon hours, giving us sunnier skies, but it was off to a low visibility start this morning, especially on some of those roads. Interestingly enough, though, you head over into the coast, we're in the 60s today in Half Moon Bay, a big difference from our microclimates over into Antioch in the upper 40s this afternoon. Throughout the rest of the bay, it's mostly 50s and low 60s, especially down into the Santa Clara Valley right around the corner. As we take a look at the next 7 days, there's small day-to-day changes in the forecast. If anything, we actually get a little bit cooler as we head into our afternoon hours tomorrow throughout our inland spots, especially over into the East Bay. Now, as we make our way into this week's forecast, it's another dry one for us from now until Saturday and Sunday, but as early as next Monday, there's another chance of showers right around the corner that we're going to keep a close eye on, and those clouds start rolling in late Sunday night. You'll definitely notice a difference as you head outside. But let's take it a step back. That's still 7 days out. You head over into the Bay. This is a time of year where we're actually seeing some warmer weather in places like Half Moon Bay and Pacifica compared to Antioch and all the way over into Concord and Walnut Creek. So a little bit of a reverse right now for those microclimates when it comes to these daytime highs warming up into the afternoon hours. We'll see partly cloudy skies each day for us in the early morning hours, clearing up into the afternoon. And then we're kicking off this weekend with sunnier skies by Friday, heading into Saturday's forecast. Back to you.
Well, more security coming to Zuckerberg General Hospital in San Francisco following the stabbing death of a social worker on the job. Workers, friends, and families came together last night to mourn the loss of 51-year-old Alberto Rangel. He died after a patient attacked him in the hospital Thursday afternoon. Investigators say the suspect stabbed him multiple times in the neck and shoulders with a 5-inch kitchen knife. Authorities arrested 34-year-old Wilfredo Tortorello Archerini at the scene. The ward there does not have a metal detector, and now union leaders are calling for a security review. Workers struggling with that social worker's loss are pressing for change.
Alberto was there to help, and he was failed. He was just such a passionate, wonderful person, and had so much more life to live.
What I know is that social workers have been raising the alarm about safety issues for years, to have been met with pretty much radio silence. And you know what I know is that our colleague and our friend and our loved one deserves more than our grief. They deserve change.
The Department of Public Health said in a statement that they will be adding more security, limiting access, and installing a weapons detection system. Some grieving co-workers still worry that it wouldn't be enough. They say they've raised concerns before about this suspect, including filing reports, and nothing had happened. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a Bay Area tech worker calling it quits on his pursuit of the American dream.
I would forever love this place.
His story amid the pressures for foreign-born workers. Plus, 49ers preparing for their final 4 games of the regular season. A former NFL fullback joins our Vern Glenn to talk about how the team is getting ready, coming off their bye week.
Well, it's a really cool day for us today throughout our inland spots, especially off into the East Bay, where that Tule fog filled in from the Delta, well, specifically from the Sacramento Valley. And it's going to take a bit into this afternoon until that pulls back, giving us sunnier skies into the afternoon hours. 50s and 40s back and forth as we head into the next couple days. We'll actually warm up into the upper 50s. In some of our inland communities closer to San Jose, stretched all the way up into wine country, but the East Bay will remain nice and cool, a little bit cooler compared to our friends over in the Bay, holding on tight to low 60s throughout this midweek forecast.
And we are continuing to follow the breaking news this morning on BART. Service is being restored, but you are in for some major delays this morning if you are taking BART. This is a live look at the MacArthur station. Those delays impacting the San Francisco line in all directions. Officials are working to restore red and green line service, and there is still some limited yellow line service. The agency says this was all caused by some sort of power issue. Paramount Skydance is trying to one-up Netflix in a counteroffer for Warner Brothers. The company made a bid worth more than $108 billion. Paramount has gone straight to Warner Brothers, Discovery's shareholders, with an all-cash offer for a hostile takeover. That comes just 3 days after Netflix agreed to buy part of Warner Brothers. A deal valued at $82.7 billion. Paramount Skydance is the parent company of CBS News Bay Area. Well, they make up a big part of Bay Area tech innovation, but now a lot of people finding themselves in the center of a crackdown on immigration. Foreign-born workers and the companies they work for are facing some big challenges right now with immigration policies from the Trump administration. They make up about 2/3 of Silicon Valley's workforce. The government recently imposed a $100,000 fee for H-1B visas, which many Silicon Valley companies rely on to recruit top foreign talent. And last week, the State Department announced it's going to be vetting the social media pages of all applicants. And while many foreigners are chasing the American dream, one local tech worker is packing up and walking away from it altogether. He shares his story with our Len Ramirez.
Walking through downtown San Jose, Hisham Al-Shaabi says he's going to miss this place. The energy, the sunshine, the feeling of being in the heart of the tech world.
I would forever love this place. Like, it is, and it will be always be part of my memories.
But this week, movers boxed up his furniture, shipped out his car, and emptied the apartment he once thought would be the start of a long life in the United States. What's left is a coffee machine he's giving away to a friend, one last espresso before he leaves a country he once dreamed of calling home.
The story of America is a great story, but the reality of it is a different thing.
Hisham was born in Yemen and raised in Saudi Arabia, where his father was an immigrant worker with few rights and no path to citizenship. He went to college in Canada, earned a software engineering degree, and then moved his family there after landing jobs in networking companies. But he always dreamed of coming to Silicon Valley.
When you work in the tech industry, that is kind of the epitome of, like, you're gonna be working in the major leagues.
3 years ago, he took a prestigious job at one of the top tech companies in the Valley. From a career standpoint, it was everything he had hoped for. But this year, he quickly became disillusioned with his adopted country. The mass deportations, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, and recent U.S. military strikes in his native Yemen, which reports say caused civilian casualties.
Hold up. I actually paid for this. Even if it's 0.01 cent. I paid for this missile that killed my own people, right? And at that point, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
It's an about-face he never planned on. He once wanted to bring his aging parents to live with him here.
I was like, oh, I'm working here. You guys should find also some sort of a job around your area in this place, and we could stay together, you know? That was 2 years ago. But yeah, things change now.
Hisham says he doesn't know where he'll work next, but as a naturalized Canadian citizen, he's coming home to a place that more closely aligns with his personal beliefs.
I'm gonna walk away from a lot of money to the uncertainties now. But I could live with myself.
A Silicon Valley company is now losing a skilled and valued employee and an engineer walking away from the heights of the tech world. It's not because he has to, but because he says his own moral compass is pointing him in a different direction.
He says he is leaving after spending 3 years in the Bay Area. Police in Solano County say they shot and injured a person after a traffic stop on Sunday night. Dixon officers responded to a report of a car that was driving without its lights on. And police say when they tried to talk with the driver on North 1st Street, the driver sped off. Police say the shooting happened after the driver then came to a stop on Pedrick Road near a gas station. The department did not release any information about what caused officers to shoot him. That person was taken to the hospital. No officers were hurt. A 21-year-old man is in custody for a deadly shooting in Fairfield. Officers responded to Cambridge Drive Sunday afternoon where they found a 40-year-old man who had been shot. Police say the suspected gunman was arrested nearby, and they say that the men knew each other, but they have not released any details of what led up to this shooting. In Santa Clara County, the city of Palo Alto could start booting RV dwellers off the city streets. That decision is being weighed today. The city council plans to vote on emergency ordinances to ban detached trailers and so-called van lording. That's when people rent out RVs on public streets. The ban would take effect immediately with $500 fines for violators. Police could start enforcing that right away, though critics say the city still has not given enough housing options for people living in their vehicles. The 49ers moved up to 6th in the NFC playoff race despite not playing this weekend, and now they are preparing for their final 4 games of the regular season. Vern Glenn and former NFL fullback Lorenzo Neal have more on how the team is preparing to sprint to the finish line.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers, winners of 3 straight, and you know that they are enjoying their bye week. George Kittle had a message for his teammates as they get ready for the 4-game stretch run.
Get away, do whatever you have to do, but just remember when we come back, we have 4 incredibly difficult games that are going to hopefully set us up to do something fun, after the last game.
All right, so here it is, Lo. They got the Titans coming off the bye. Then they go to the Colts on Monday Night Football. Week 17, they host the Bears. And then we conclude with Week 18 against Seattle. If I told you, all right, 3-1, would you take it?
I'll take it. Absolutely, I'll take it. If you told me 3-1, I'd take it. It looks more like a 2-2, but 3-1, that's even better. But right now, I would say 2-2. Chicago's probably going to be playing for something. Seattle looks like they're playing for something. So those are 2 games that are going to be tough. But those next 2 games, it's going to be critical, especially because the Colts lost their quarterback, and Tennessee Titans right now, they're not getting it done.
With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
Well, the Niners are back against the Titans this Sunday at Levi's Stadium. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, major financial boost for a struggling East Bay college. How Cal State East Bay plans to make use of an eye-popping 8-figure donation from the ex-wife of one of the world's richest men.
That cloud coverage and the dense fog continues to stay strong is actually Solano County, all the way into northern parts of Contra Costa County until this afternoon as that Tule fog out in the Sacramento Valley starts to break apart. That's radiation fog, though, and we've been noticing it a lot this past few weeks here in the Bay Area, especially off into the East Bay. It's stubborn and it sticks around into the afternoon hours, but we will see a little bit of a break as we head into the evening tonight. Sunnier skies on tap for us tomorrow throughout the Bay. We're still holding on tight to upper 50s and lower 60s each day as we head into this week's forecast. Partly cloudy skies Wednesday and Thursday, sunnier conditions as we kick off this weekend. I know it's Monday and thinking all the way to the weekend is kind of hard to believe, especially as many of us have to go back to work and school today. But as we head into this weekend and early next week, there's another chance of showers around the corner. You just won't notice that throughout the next 7 days. It's relatively mild for us here in the Bay. Very chilly, too, off into those inland spots. If you think today's a cool day, wait till tomorrow. We're going to jump down into the 40s throughout most of the East Bay and the Santa Clara Valley tomorrow for our daytime highs. So grab the thick jackets. You might as well. And hold on tight to them as we head into the rest of this week because we're not warming up too much more. Back to you.
All right, some breaking news right now. More little earthquakes hitting the East Bay this morning. A 3.7 magnitude earthquake just hit near San Ramon. That was at 9:07. And just 2 minutes before that, a 2.6 magnitude. These are all on the Calaveras Fault. 4 other quakes hit the same area starting at 2:30 this morning. No reports of any damage. A struggling Bay Area university is getting a major financial boost. Philanthropist Mackenzie Scott donated $50 million to Cal State East Bay in Hayward. She is the ex-wife of Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. That donation is the largest single donation in the college's history. Our Suji Nam spoke with one professor about how it's going to support the current student body.
Professor Derek Jackson Kimball takes a stroll through the Cal State East Bay campus.
It just means a lot to be part of this team every day.
Just like he's been doing for the past 20 years.
Like every single student has an amazing story of overcoming hardships, taking care of family, doing a million different things in addition to being students.
Professor Jackson Kimball has been teaching physics for 2 decades. He was thrilled and grateful upon hearing that philanthropist Mackenzie Scott donated $50 million to the university.
Every one of our students is going to be super grateful and can do great things if they just get a little more support. And this can make that happen for generations to come.
Cal State East Bay is the first Bay Area university to receive funding from the philanthropist. The gift came as a surprise for school president Kathy Sandine.
We did not apply for this. It was not until I received a phone call informing me that I had any idea that we would be a recipient of this generosity.
The Mackenzie Scott Foundation said they awarded Cal State East Bay for its dedication for serving the underserved, of which many are first-generation students.
I'm a first-generation college graduate myself, so I can really relate to these 2 students. I was them 50 years ago, and to be in a position where I can help students understand that it is possible.
She says they plan to add new student programs, create more student jobs, and make education more equitable by boosting financial aid.
We have been giving out a limited number of $1,000 scholarships to students when they commit to coming here at Cal State East Bay, and it would be wonderful to expand that.
We've designed and built laser spectroscopy experiments.
Professor Jackson Kimball says the donation will be transformational for everyone.
We really encourage students to get involved in research from day one here at Cal State East Bay, and so this kind of gift will hopefully open up those opportunities to even more students.
Using every dollar to help the next generation of dreamers. A gift that is priceless.
And this donation comes at a critical time. Cal State East Bay entered last academic year with a $14 million deficit, and the most recent state budget called for steep cuts to the Cal State system. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, Oakland Unified could fall back into state hands again. We're going to look at the cuts on the table as district leaders weigh some big decisions. And let's take another live look outside before we head to break. It is 9:28 on a busy Monday morning here in the newsroom between BART troubles and little earthquakes in the East Bay. We're going to have another check in your top stories and your first alert forecast when we come back.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device. You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Monday morning. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at our news headlines right now. We are following breaking news on the morning commute. BART experiencing major delays on the San Francisco line in all directions. Officials are working to restore green line service and red line service with limited blue and yellow line service. Officials say the disruption is because of a power issue. The teachers strike now on day 5 in West Contra Costa County. 1,500 teachers are off the job. They're demanding better wages, health care, and more classroom aides. The district says it is reviewing the union's proposal with state fiscal experts. Teachers say the district said that they're not going to be back to the bargaining table until tomorrow. Union is holding a rally at 11 a.m. And one man is dead, 3 others are hurt after a shooting in San Jose. Officers got a call about shots being fired on Lincoln Avenue early Sunday morning. When they got there, they found no victims there, but then a short time later, 4 men who had been shot showed up at local hospitals on their own. One of the men later died. No word yet on suspects nor a motive. All right, let's get another check on our chilly first alert forecast with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, it's a cool way to kick off this week's forecast. We're holding on tight to 40s and 50s today off into the East Bay, where that toolie fog pulling in from the Sacramento Valley made its way into the Delta this morning, pulling back into the afternoon hours, giving us sunnier skies, but it was off to a low visibility start this morning, especially on some of those roads. Interestingly enough, though, you head over into the coast, we're in the 60s today in Half Moon Bay, a big difference from our microclimates over into Antioch in the upper 40s this afternoon. Throughout the rest of the bay, it's mostly 50s and low 60s, especially down into the Santa Clara Valley right around the corner. As we take a look at the next 7 days, there's small day-to-day changes in the forecast. If anything, we actually get a little bit cooler as we head into our afternoon hours tomorrow throughout our inland spots, especially over into the East Bay. Now, as we make our way into this week's forecast, it's another dry one for us from now until Saturday and Sunday, but as early as next Monday, there's another chance of showers right around the corner that we're going to keep a close eye on, and those clouds start rolling in late Sunday night. You'll definitely notice a difference as you head outside. But let's take it a step back. That's still 7 days out. You head over into the Bay. This is a time of year where we're actually seeing some warmer weather in places like Half Moon Bay and Pacifica compared to Antioch and all the way over into Concord and Walnut Creek. So a little bit of a reverse right now for those microclimates when it comes to these daytime highs warming up into the afternoon hours. We'll see partly cloudy skies each day for us in the early morning hours, clearing up into the afternoon, and then we're kicking off this weekend with sunnier skies by Friday, heading into Saturday's forecast. Back to you.
We are continuing to track those delays on BART this morning. Veronica Macias is at MacArthur Station in Oakland. We know that things are trying to get back to normal, but anytime that there's a major problem in the morning, it takes a while to get back on track.
It sure does. Right now, it seems like trains are coming in, so service has been restored. We can confirm that here at the MacArthur BART station. And we do know that it's going to take some time before the system-wide transit system gets back up and going. But we've ran into a lot of people this morning who are thankful that the system is now restored. It was the red and the green lines that were affected this morning. And we know that the blue line was also interrupted. It had limited service. We know that there was a power issue in downtown San Francisco, but exactly what has happened this morning, we're still waiting to hear from BART. You know, we ran into a woman earlier and who tells us that she is a rider of BART for years. She rides it every day, Monday through Friday. She's hopping on over at Civic Center and then going all the way to Castro Valley. And she says, surprisingly, this is the very first time that she has had to wait this long for BART, despite the numerous incidents that they've had all year. This morning, waiting for more than an hour. Take a listen.
They should have been more specific this morning because they only indicated a few lines going toward the Richmond. And then when I made it to BART, it affected the whole train line. So it was all destinations.
So we know that service has been restored. Kim is on her way to work. She, comes prepared. Several people seem to have things in their bags like books. Kim had her earphones ready to enjoy that long commute into work. Again, those major delays still anticipated for a little while longer because it does take things to get back up and running. But again, no announcement yet from BART as to exactly what that power issue was in downtown San Francisco. They had been single tracking to just avoid all the bottleneck. But thankfully at this hour, things are up and running. And of course, riders often voicing their frustration since they have seen this repeatedly throughout this year. A lot of people saying, if board members had to write BART themselves, maybe we would see some resolutions here with the transit system in the Bay Area. So, of course, we'll continue to cover the developments here for you, Ann.
Okay, yeah, one thing after another, but it's always something different. So very interesting. Thank you, Veronica. Glad things are back on track. Meantime, we could be seeing layoffs coming to the Oakland Unified School District, several of them, because district leaders have to make some tough decisions this week. They are trying to close a multi-million-dollar budget shortfall. District leaders have said that school closures or mergers are off limits, but everything else is on the table right now. The district has to close that gap by cutting $100 million from the budget for the upcoming school year. And as Da Lin reports, if they can't, they're facing the possibility of entering state receivership again.
Oakland parent Sarah Salvage says it's a lot easier to manage 25 student volunteers as they beautify an Edna Brewer Middle School garden than to balance the district's budget.
What are you going to cut? I mean, sometimes I know teachers who buy their own paper. Like, it's just crazy, right? I mean, it seems like I don't have an alternative. But just returning to the metaphor I used before, there's just not a lot of fat to trim at the school sites.
Her son attends Edna Brewer. Many parents like her volunteer at the school to fill the gaps. She believes any further cuts would devastate the student learning.
I'm pretty concerned. I know there's a lot of schools that are really struggling.
But district officials have to cut $100 million for the next school year. Otherwise, the state and county could once again take over the district. The district just came out of state receivership in July.
To lose local control, I think, again, for our staff, for our labor partners, for everyone, to lose local control is disastrous.
The board initially tried to make cuts only to the central office, but that wouldn't be enough. Now everything is on the table, from cutting school programs to laying off educators.
It's a daunting task. It's going to be a painful outcome. But I do feel this puts us on the road to streamlining and to spending what we have.
Any program that doesn't have its own dedicated funding is really under threat of being cut. And the last part is, since most of our budget, 80% of our budget is spent on staffing, by definition, this is going to involve reducing our staffing levels across the board in every position.
It's a tough sell to students and parents when many schools are already operating at the bare minimum. But Sarah agrees going back into state receivership is not an option.
State receivership, it sounds terrible. Like, it didn't really work before either. I mean, we did it. They did it for so long, but like, it doesn't seem like it helped. It did not fix the problem.
So the district has to present a balanced budget to county officials 1 week from now on December 15th. The school board is expected to make a decision at its meeting this Wednesday. 4 people are in custody after leading officers on a chase through Santa Rosa. The sheriff's office says they found a bunch of suspected stolen mail inside the car. This first started near Santa Rosa Avenue and Highway 12 on Saturday, and during this chase, the car hit a guardrail entering southbound 101 and then pulled over to the shoulder. That's where deputies were able to stop the car and arrest everyone inside. California's latest battleground is actually the ocean floor. The state is facing off with the Trump administration over offshore drilling plans. Our John Ramos explains what this means for California and how local leaders are bracing for a real battle.
The fight over offshore oil drilling along California's coast began in President Trump's first administration, but that was turned back by Congress. Now in his second term, coastal protectionists say it's become an all-out war. At Portuguese Beach near Bodega Bay, the beauty of the rugged California coast is on full display. It's a place of recreation for some, serenity for others. But lately, for Richard Charter, it's become an area of concern.
Yeah, I'm worried. This is real. This is not, hypothetical.
He's talking about an announcement on Thanksgiving week that the Department of Interior will be offering leases to conduct offshore oil drilling. And the politics of the decision couldn't be more obvious. Along with the entire state of Alaska, the full length of the coast of California is now up for sale to oil companies.
I worked on this issue here in, California and other states for 50 years, and I've never seen a threat this serious or this imminent. This particular administration has, for some reason, decided to conduct what is essentially a battle against the environment.
There is reason for California to fear offshore oil drilling. In 1969, a well off Santa Barbara blew out, releasing millions of gallons of oil which washed up onto beaches, killing wildlife and fouling the waterfront of the popular tourist destination.
When the Santa Barbara blowout happened, it created a leak in the seafloor that could not be closed. It was the type of oil spill that you can't turn off, kind of like Deepwater Horizon, same thing, lasted for months.
The nation was shocked by what was then the largest spill in U.S. history, and the outcry led to the creation of the Earth Day movement. Because of the mess, President Richard Nixon formed the Environmental Protection Agency, making him an unlikely hero to environmentalists. Since then, numerous state and federal laws were passed protecting the Golden State from further drilling. But now, the Trump administration says it will conduct a lease sale from the Sonoma coast all the way to the Southern California border, beginning in 2027. The state's congressional delegation has vowed to fight it to the end.
This is yet another outrageous announcement and effort by this out-of-control administration.
You have an administration that wants to erase the protections that we put in place on our environment. They want to harm our economy, and they want to threaten our way of life. We saw this in Trump 1.0.
The communities that this plan puts in the crosshairs of oil and gas development have been fighting for generations to protect their coastlines, because we know how this story ends, right? Where you drill, you spill.
Charter says once the leases are sold, they become the property of the buyers, and it may be very difficult to rescind them, even with a change of administration. So he's come out of retirement to head up a coalition of local governments uniting to fight the proposal.
In my life, I have only worked on things that are very difficult. I don't work on things that are easy, because lots of people could do those. I don't work on things that are impossible. So the very fact that I have accepted this position and to work with the counties and cities again is indicative of the fact that I believe we can stop this.
But he says it won't be easy, and predicts that, like so many other federal actions, the drilling plan is likely to end up in court.
Well, there is going to be a public hearing on the issue. That is going to be in Sausalito on January 16th. We reached out to the Department of the Interior and are waiting to hear back. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, a local group teaching others about the cosmos with a unique twist. We're going to take you to a gathering blending stargazing with beer.
We didn't know what the response was going to be, and all of a sudden there's 60 people staring at you.
Start your day with us and open your world.
Time to open up those windows and get this day started.
The power of CBS News.
It is a historic day in news.
Taking you around the globe, across the country.
Federal, live, and
into your community.
To the South Bay, major changes.
And Bay Area weather from a whole new perspective.
Let's head underneath this cloud layer.
CBS News Bay Area's Morning Edition. Weekdays at 6 on KPIX.
Well, it's a really cool day for us today throughout our inland spots, especially off into the East Bay, where that tule fog filled in from the Delta, well, specifically from the Sacramento Valley. And it's going to take a bit into this afternoon until that pulls back, giving us sunnier skies into the afternoon hours. 50s and 40s back and forth as we head into the next couple days. We'll actually warm up into the upper 50s in some of our inland communities closer to San Jose, stretched all the way up into wine country. But the East Bay will remain nice and cool, a little bit cooler compared to our friends over in the Bay, holding on tight to low 60s throughout this midweek forecast.
Well, talking about deep space might seem a little bit heady to some, but one group in San Francisco is trying to make it more accessible with a night out at the bar. Maureen Ayub shares how Astronomy on Tap is bringing the cosmos a little closer to Earth.
As the cold pour hits the glass at the Sycamore in San Francisco, Astronomy on Tap kicks off, blending a little stargazing with a laid-back night at the bar.
Astronomy on Tap is all about making astronomy casual, something that people can interact with in their day-to-day lives, which is how it should be, right? Because, you know, we live on a planet, we're in space. It feels abstract, but it should be something concrete.
So concrete that this bar in the Mission has got a packed house. NASA hopes the free, laid-back gatherings will inspire attendees to learn more about the planets and galaxies near and far.
It's all about the cosmic perspective, ultimately, that feeling you get when you look through a telescope and see Saturn's rings for the first time, or if you look up at the night sky with your naked eye and you take this step back from yourself and realize your place in the cosmos.
A deep realization paired with burgers and fries. And it's that very perspective which inspired attendee Rob Summerlin to support the event.
I think space is so incredible and I know very little about it. So I think an opportunity to learn from people who know what they're talking about and can expand my knowledge of the planet I live on and the universe I live on is super cool. And I like the informal atmosphere.
Bartender Dane Dakota, who helped bring the event to the Sycamore, says he was pleasantly surprised with the turnout.
We didn't know what the response was going to be, and all of a sudden there's 60 people staring at you, and they just all want, we inspired them to come down and try our food, try our drinks, and just be around this bar. And a lot of people haven't been here before, so we want them to check out the patio.
The patio overflowing with bar bites and curious minds. Asa hopes these gatherings nudge people to look up and feel the sheer scale of the universe and all of its wonder.
I hope they walk away with a little bit more of an appreciation of the universe that they live in, the beauty of it, the elegance, how little we know, and how those gaps in our knowledge let wonder into our lives.
We can all use a little wonder. The next Astronomy on Tap event is tomorrow, December 9th. It is at Black Hammer Brewing on Bryant Street. Starts at 7 p.m. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, the Golden Globes have announced their nominations for the 2026 award show. You can find out which one of your faves could be up for the honor. Golden Globe nominations have been announced for next year's award show. It is the first major award show of the season and honors both movies and television. And this year it has added a new category, podcasts. Gwen Baumgartner has more from Los Angeles.
I need a weapon, man.
Paul Thomas Anderson's action satire One Battle After Another received 9 Golden Globe nominations, the most of any film, with acting nods going to stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Benicio del Toro and Sean Penn and newcomer Chase Infinity. It's vying for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy against Blue Moon, Begonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, and Nouvelle Vague. Failing to make the cut was Wicked for Good, although stars Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande were both recognized for their work.
I think this was probably one of the bigger snubs of the morning. The second film wasn't received as well critically than the first film. What the hell going on?
On the drama side, Ryan Coogler's blockbuster Sinners earned 7 nominations, including one for star Michael B. Jordan. The film goes up against Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, and Sentimental Value. New this year is a Best Podcast category, with Call Her Daddy, Smartless, and the Mel Robbins Podcast among those receiving nominations. Turning to television, HBO's The White Lotus led all TV shows with 6 nominations. It faces off in the drama category against The Diplomat, The Pit, and 3 Apple TV series, Pluribus, Severance, and Slow Horses. For Best Musical or Comedy Series, the nominees are Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, and The Studio. Comedian Nikki Glazer is set to return as host.
And you can watch the Golden Globes live January 11th on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.